freaks, fans, and friends. It's yours truly, the Pope of Plastic here. From Harry's Hobbies, Vintage Unboxings, number 12.
12.
This is 12 weeks we've been doing this, Stephen. Let me say something to you people out there. How disappointed I am. Last week, I drag in for my personal collection a 1/8 scale Posher Spider, Alpha Spider, 87 views. I thought this model kit unboxing being so rare, so sought after, that people would be lining up the internet to see that unboxing. 84 of you nudniks looked at it. That's it. 84 of you. Why the hell am I even doing this?
That kit is more rare than a Fabergé egg.
That's right. Not a Cadbury egg,
Nope.
a Fabergé egg. And let me tell you this. The Revell Ships video from a couple weeks ago gets like nearly 2,000 views for 2 piece of crap kits. And then I go and show a kit that's valued at probably about $3,000, and 84 of you only look at it. And probably half of them are people that are related to me. Unbelievable. So listen, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive back into the 1980s. Big dive back. We're going to do a comparison of 3 different brands doing the same subject matter, all in the same scale, from the early to mid 1980s. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into Top Gun territory today. Yes, Top Gun, Tom Cruise, Maverick. Actually, a horrible movie. As far as that came out right when I joined the Air Force. When I was joining the Air Force, everybody was like, "Oh, was it Top Gun that got you to join the Air Force?" I said, "No, that movie was stupid." The movie that got me to join the Air Force, ladies and gentlemen, was, you want to guess, Steve? Military movie that pushed me over the edge?
Howard Hughes, Hell's Angels.
No, come on.
More current?
Yeah, more current than that.
Oh.
Came out in the 80s. Military, about the Air Force, about the test pilots. Great book.
The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff was
Excellent.
the movie. I remember watching that, and what an amazing movie. I watch that movie all the time. It's if you have not seen The Right Stuff, or if you haven't read Tom Clancy's book, The Right Stuff, which is absolutely incredible.
That piece from Holtz with the planets.
Just
excellent.
The Right Stuff was just incredible. And that was the movie that pushed me to go into the Air Force. Boy, Chuck Yeager, unbelievable. Just what a story. He actually makes a cameo in the movie, Steve.
He does.
Yes, he does. When he's in Rosie's bar,
right,
and they're in there talking about, I forget what they were talking about, and he's sitting in the corner, and he looks over and he says something to him. But that he actually makes a cameo. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what we're going to look at today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed it already, it is the F-14 Tomcat from 3 different brands. The British company Matchbox. They always did wacky stuff. They always had their plastic was like orange and green. You remember that?
Very tacky.
Yeah, very tacky when it comes to their plastic colors. But anyway, we got Matchbox, Testors. Then we have Hasegawa. Now these are all the same scale, and then I have a 1/48 scale for Monogram thrown in just to show what that looks like. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 1/72. So let's start with the Hasegawa. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to take these. I think Hasegawa is probably going to be the best, Steve, if my memory serves me correctly.
That Testors might be Fujimi.
I don't know. It could be. Now I built this one. I remember when I was a youngster. And I think it was 1984-ish or something like that. But we'll get into it. The Matchbox we're going to look at. Good. This is going to be good to compare the detail between these 3 kits and see what all 3 different companies were doing basically at the same time. So here we go. We've got the Matchbox Tomcat F-14A. And this was from what year? It does not say on the box, but we'll find out. It'll probably say it on the 1983. 1983. I do have a Tomcat story. in Stuart, Florida, where I'm from, where they built the actually the lunar lander was built in my hometown, Grumman Aerospace in Stuart, Florida, which is in Martin County on the East Coast, just north of Palm Beach and Jupiter. That's where I'm from. They also played a big part in the development of the Tomcat. Now, I remember we used to have a little air show in Stuart, Florida every year. And right when the Tomcat was released, they flew in the Tomcat. And I got to see the Tomcat like right after it was produced. And to this day, I got a patch from it from the pilot. I remember that. What a moment that was to see a Tomcat when it had first come out. It was incredible. I always remember that. I still have the patch to this very day. Box art is really nice. I gotta say, Steve, I like the box art on this. It's very old school. It's very it's almost like 1960-ish kind of stylization of the artwork, but it's very nice. Now, let's see what we got in here. I have not looked at this yet. I'm anticipating fluorescent orange plastic and something else because they were really famous about doing that stuff. The decals are screen printed. These decals still look like they would be pretty good. They're not yellowed or anything. The paper's a little bit yellowed. But they look like nice decals. I'm not going to complain about the decals. Now, here's the instruction. Now, look at this. Looks like it's been photocopied 19 million times. But anyway, here's the plastic. White. I knew it was going to be multicolored. White. I mean, this is a little tame for them, Steve. This is normally it's fluorescent green, orange, and purple or something, but there's your plastic, 1/72 scale, so it doesn't have a whole lot of parts. So let's look at the instruction sheet. Assembly, very clear and straightforward. I don't see any issues here. And it looks very cleanly illustrated. Very simple assembly. Here's all your colors that they're going to have you use, I believe. Yeah, looks like a pretty basic.
Matchbox always had a decent set of instructions.
Yeah, the instructions look good. They look.
Nice.
Does Matchbox still make models today? I don't think so.
I don't think they do.
I wonder where all the molds ended up. But what a beautiful cover art for the instructions. Looks like a Chinese menu you would get faxed over from you. Remember that? And at lunchtime you get the fax would start going, and you'd get something like this over, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I'll take the Szechuan chicken."
Well, the great thing
about
the great thing about Chinese, you just order in numbers.
Yeah.
Give me
I'll
give
you the 2. Give me the 6.
number 23.
Yeah,
I'll take
the
a
6
6
extra spicy. I'm looking at the molding of this plastic. Actually nice, not any flash. I have not looked at a Matchbox kit. I can honestly say I've never built a Matchbox kit. Not bad. It's pretty simple and basic. Where is the oh, here's the cockpit. No detail whatsoever in the cockpit. So if you couldn't find a really good model of I know that Tamiya makes them and everything else, and so I don't even see a reason to really do this unless it's just for nostalgia's sake, because there's no detail in the cockpit. Nowadays you get a Tamiya kit or whatever, the detail is usually really good in the cockpits and everything else. In fact, I just got a Tamiya F-14 sent to me by somebody who follows me on TikTok, and they sent me a Tamiya Tomcat, and it's actually a really, excuse me, I'm burping, Steve.
What scale?
1/72 scale, nice. and it's a beautiful model.
Their kits are top notch.
Now listen, you know what this would be great for, Steve? You know what this would be really good for? This one, anyway, a beginner. Mm-hmm. This is a good beginner kit because there's not a whole lot here to get you really messed up and confused. And this is what I like to see in a beginner kit. And you can put this together. Yeah, maybe you're not going to have all the great detail in the cockpit and everything else, but you know what? The painting and everything, if you do this right, you're going to have a nice looking, model for a beginner. Good to practice on. And for an experienced model, if you're wanting to test out an airbrush or whatever and try out some new techniques, a model that is as simple as a lot of time, it's the way to go.
That's a cool thing where it has you can demonstrate the wings.
Yeah, this does appear to have operating wings, so that's pretty cool for a youngster who wants to build a model. So I think this is I think this is a good one for a beginner. Now let's get into the testers. This is going to be interesting. Now this came out for the movie, so this would be 1986. I'm going to guess, Steve. I'm going to say 1986. 1986. I nailed it. 1986. Paramount Pictures.
We're going to focus on this to prove that you nailed it. There
1986. Scenes from the movie. I was never a fan of this look of the Testors kits. I like the yellow and black. That was the classic Testors look, but this was a special thing. And I know this is emulating the poster for the movie and everything else. So this, this model I'm sure sold like hotcakes back in 1986 because that terrible movie was, was in the theaters and people were scrambling to buy whatever they could about the Top Gun. And and they also have all the other planes that were in the movie. That's a Sky Raider, right? No, Aggressor, but I think that was A4 was a Sky Raider.
Skyhawk.
That was the Tiger Shark that never made it into military production. That was built by Grumman as well. And then you have the Tomcat, which we're going to look at now. So anyway, the box art, not great, but if you're a big fan of the movie, I guess that would be kind of cool. Let's see what we got here. I wonder if we'll be able to tell who molded this for testers. So we got our instruction sheet here. The instructions look those aren't going to be so great. Somebody spilled something on those things. Not looking too good. So you're going to need to get some replacement decals. You got your history here. Every model company starts out with the history and then same kind of rigmarole. Looking at this, I'm going to say this is Italy. I'm just judging by the instructions. When you built as many models as I have, you can usually spot who the manufacturer is just by looking at the instructions. I'm going to say this is Italy. That's my guess, Steve.
We'll go with that.
I think so. I think that is
nice, where they give you the color paint.
That is nice. Now this looks quite a bit more detailed than the Matchbox kit. So much more detailed. I don't know much more. We're gonna look at the plastic, and I'll tell you that. Then you have all your insignia. Again, and you can order patches. Look at that. You can order patches from the.
Oh, I wonder if it's still.
Yeah, I'm sure if you send that in, I'm sure Testors will. I'll send this in. Now, what they will not send you if you request from Testors is the Model Master glue, the greatest glue ever invented.
8872.
And they decided not to make it anymore. They decided to put it, and this is one of my biggest modeling grievances that there is, in my opinion, is that Testors decided not to make it anymore. They put it in as just Testors glue in a new container, and you cannot get the glue out of the container no matter what you do. They put some kind of valve in the container that it is impossible to get the glue out. I've bought the glue about 6 different times because I've heard it's the same formula as the original Model Master glue, but it is impossible to get it out of the container. So I've stopped buying it, and we'll just cut it open and pour it into something else. Well, you go ahead and do that, because why am I going to buy something I've got to cut open and pour out and put it? I'll stick with Fallers. I get this question all the time, Steve. What glue do I use? I got so many glues that I use. Tamiya Thin, Fallers Expert, which is my replacement for Model Master. Then I have Tamiya Cement in the orange capped bottle. And then I have Testors Canopy Glue, which is not good for canopies. It's only good for making gauges or simulating clear lenses. Don't use it on a canopy. Even though it says canopy glue, it's garbage. It doesn't work. And then I use for gluing rubber and metal to plastic. I use the only thing that I've been able to find that works for me, which I love, and I'm so happy I found it, and that is JB Super Weld. That's the secret I'm going to give to you today to the 80 people who are going to watch this video, is the JB Super Weld.
Excellent.
All right, let's look at the plastic. So now this hasn't even been cracked open. Already I can tell you that the detail on this is much better than the Matchbox, but very nicely molded. Look at that. It's got raised panel lines, but that's okay. We've talked about this many times. On a lot of these older kits, you're gonna get raised panel lines. It was before recessed panel lines were all the rage, which I kind of think started. Recessed panel lines kind of become standard in the early 90s, and nobody does really raise panel lines anymore unless that's the way it's supposed to look. But very nicely molded. This is a good looking model kit, and I'm going to open this up.
Well,
what did we say? Made in Italy.
Made in Italy.
What did I tell you? Italy.
Yeah.
That's who made this kit. Told you.
Made in Italy.
Told you, I may be a dumbass on a lot of things. I got yelled at on the Revell kits. Both of us got yelled at on the Revell kits that we didn't look at these two morons, the guy said. That's exactly what he said. He said, look at these two morons, I think. And I said, my response to him was, what am I, supposed to be a frickin' historian on every single thing? No, I don't know everything. I say that every single stupid video. And now, but here I am, redeemed myself twice. I knew what year this was, and I knew that this was made by Italy for Testors.
There you go.
So the glass looks good. Yep, this is Italy. Yep, glass looks very nice. Now that I know that it's Italy, I know it's going to be a pretty decent model.
And probably
their plastic is great. I'm a big fan of Italy. Even though they have, and now look, if we look at the comparison between the cockpit that we looked at on the Matchbox kit, you have all of your instruments all finely molded, which is a big difference. And then you have instrument panels that are finely molded. So already you know this is a much more detailed model. So this would be for, even this, look, there's not a lot of parts here. As a beginner, you could do this without much problem, and you come out with a very nice model, I'm sure. And again, this one has a working sweeping wings as well. And
while we're on the Italy comment,
yeah,
you did a beautiful Alpha.
The Alfa Romeo I did by Italy was a very fine model kit, and to this day it's one of the best car models I've ever done. And if you look at my website, thepopoplastic.com, it's right there at the top. It's actually for sale. If anybody was interested in it, it is for sale, and you can see it right there. I'll get that in later. Okay, now finally, ladies and gentlemen, the F-14 Tomcat by Hasegawa. Now, what year was this one from?
I'll say 1982.
It does not say, but I would say that's a good. I'm going to say 1984. 1984 is going to be my guess. So let's see the difference on this one. Hasegawa's. Now, those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you a little trivia. Hasegawa is the oldest plastic model manufacturer in the world. Everybody say, oh, Tamiya. No, not Tamiya. Hasegawa was started in, I believe, 1929 or 1929, 1931, around there. That's when they started. That's a long time. Now, Tamiya came after them in 1939, just before the war. Tamiya was founded.
They started as a lumber yard.
Something like that. And then after the war, obviously, they weren't allowed to make war stuff, so they started making toys. That's how Japan became such a great maker of toys. That's what they got into after the war. They were permitted to make toys, and models were a big part of that. So the F-14 Tomcat, 1/72nd scale again. Now these instructions are much nicer. Beautiful photography of the finished model. Once again, the history. Typical Hasegawa instructions, which these look very similar to the Hasegawa instructions of today. Very clear. Hasegawa does a great job with their instructions. It's amazing that how Tamiya and Hasegawa are from the same country, the same business and everything else, yet their instructions are very different from each other. But very nice, very concise, very easy to follow, and just like they are to this very day. Their instructions are terrific. They've been doing it forever. I don't see a year, though. Do not see a year. No year. But we'll see if it's molded on the so here we go. This again is all raised detail. I'd say so far it looks about the same as the Italy kit. I mean the Testors kit. The detail looks just about the same. Very nicely molded. Hasegawa's plastic I have always found to be extremely hard. It's a very hard plastic. Some people like, some people don't. It can crack if you're not careful. Sometimes it can be hard to trim down a little bit, which may cause your knife to slip and you could gouge out a piece because it's hard. Here's a little flash in here, but nothing major. Detail on the inside of the engines looks okay. Comes with 2 pilots. Not bad. Pilots aren't molded too badly. Instrument panel. Italy's got them beat on the instruments. Italy's got them beat. I guess they're just doing a decal for the instrument panel. Yep, here we go. It's all decals for the instrument panels, which I'm not a fan of because I like painting my instrument panels and control surfaces. For a beginner model builder, you don't know how to do all of that stuff yet, then here you go. This is an easy way out. It looks like a nice model. I've got to give the edge to Testors on this one, Steve.
Like this operates too.
Yep, all 3 of these operate. I got to give I'm surprised. I'm giving the edge to the Testors kit, but now that I know that Italy made it, I see why. You know, not a big margin between the 2 of them, but I would give the edge to the Italy. And it comes with some weapons, which is kind of cool. The glass looks about the same as the a little chunkier. Decals look good. We don't have a year on this, Steve. No year. But I'm going to guess, I think, like you said, 82. I would say 84. Let's split the difference and say 1983.
83 is good. Yeah.
Here's my synopsis of these. And then, oh, you know what? Let's, just for shits and giggles, excuse my language for all you children out there. Not a bad kit. Let's look at the Monogram 1/48 scale. Now, 1/48 scale being a bigger scale, this should be far more detailed. You know,
you would think.
You would think. I built this when I was a kid. This is from 1981. What year did the Tomcat come out? It come out in like 79?
In the early mid-70s.
I thought it was like 79, 78.
I thought it was more in the early 70s.
I bet it says it in the instruction sheet.
Oh. Does it ever?
Anyway, so here's your typical Monogram kit that I remember as a kid. Bought a lot of these. These were inexpensive. You could find them just about anywhere. This is made in the USA. Molded in color, which would be gray. Detail is surprisingly not too bad. Looking at this. Not bad. These are very finely molded detail inside the wheel wells. That's not bad. This is all one piece, where the other models, even in 1/72 scales, the front of the fuselage was 2 pieces, but this is all molded 1 piece, which is good. You have less seam lines, and for a beginner, having less seam lines is a good thing. If you don't want to, it's always nice to have seam lines going this way versus right down the middle of the aircraft. For a beginner model builder, and even an experienced model builder like myself, it just makes it easier, makes my life easier. They're a lot easier to hide. Fit is okay. Detail looks not too bad. Now that we're going to get into the meat of the action here. Landing gear looks good. Seats are pretty good. Cockpit detail with the instruments, nice raised detail. Doesn't look bad at all. I'm surprised, actually. I wasn't expecting it to look this good. The ejection seats look really nice. These would build up nice to really nice ejection seats. Very nice. I'm looking for the instrument panel. Wing detail, again, early 80s, raised detail. But not bad. Engine detail looks good. These are 2-part, but this is a bigger scale. Oh, here's your instrument panels. Very nice. Very nice instruments. Again, this is bigger scale, but still, I honestly was going to expect this to be the worst model out of all of them, even though this is a bigger scale. The pilot looks great. He's molded very nicely. Let's look at the glass. The glass is very nice. Very nice glass. Nice and clean, clear. Here's a part. Now, Katie goes through these and makes sure that she puts things in Ziploc bags. So if you're buying a older kit that's been opened, you rest assured that Katie, Steve, and the team here have gone through it, and they'll put loose parts into Ziploc bags like this, which is very, very, very handy. Decals still look good. Screen printed. The paper's a little bit yellowed, but that's okay. I think these would work fine. Nice screen printed decals.
Now, if you have a decal sheet in a kit that you might find questionable,
Yes.
is there something you can coat it with?
You know, a lot of people have said a lot of different things. People have said, put them in the windowsill and the sun will bring them back. I think that's an old wives' tale. I do not know, to be honest with you, how once it's the varnish that is gone yellow. Okay, so I really don't know of anything that can bring that varnish back to a clear. It's the glues. It's the that turn yellow. It's like taking a piece of amber, that came off a tree and it's hardened and it turns that beautiful golden yellow. It's the same thing. It's the resins in it that have turned yellow. So what I do is if I say, hey, I really need this decal set, I'm an artist. I'm an illustrator. I know how to use Photoshop and Illustrator. I've been using them forever. I can scan this in and recreate these, send these to my decal guy, and have him reprint them for me. That is the way that I do it. If it's really bad, that's what I do. The other thing you might be able to try, and I have not tried this, but I've heard it might work, is UV light. That you can put these under UV light and the UV will take out the yellow. I've heard that. I don't know that to be true. I just don't even worry about it. If I see they're bad, I scan them in, I recreate them, and have them made for me. Or you can go online, and usually I guarantee there's somebody has recreated this, and you can find it online for fairly cheap. Sometimes decals can be expensive, but a lot of times they're just they're super cheap, $10. And so why not just spend the $10 and get an extra set of decals? There's tons of aftermarket decals on
True. And Google is your friend.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody's like, how can you find me this kit? I'm like, what are your fingers broken? You can't go and type in F-14 Tomcat 1984 model kit? I mean, why do I have to do that? I mean, everybody's got a computer these days, and a fax machine. Fax the folks at Monogram. Ask them if they got if they can help you out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you can find anything on Google. And even Amazon these days, you can find just about everything on Amazon. These instructions are great. You know, very simple to follow. Very nice instruction sheet. Simple model. The detail looks really, really good. The painting callouts, very easy to understand. 1981. 1981. Does it say when it was designed? It does not say on here when it was the actual Tomcat was designed. Anyway, looks like a very good model. I'm surprised, to be honest with you. I thought this was going to be the worst out of all, and that was kind of why I wanted to show it, because I was going to laugh and poke fun of Monogram back in the day. And look, Monogram got the last laugh on me. Monogram gave me the last laugh. They said, yeah, we'll show you. We knew what we were doing in 1981. I was a freshman in high school. That's what I was in 1981. Oh, I was coming out of middle school. Well, 81, let's see, I graduated. No, I went to high school in 82. So,
81, I was second year of college.
Second year of college. There you go. So well, let me say a couple things here. Because I get this all the time. People come in who are watching me build models, and they'll say, Pope, you know, I'm new to model building and I want to start building models. What is your advice? Well, number one, I ask them, I say, what do you like to build? What do you like? You're not even what do you like to build? What do you like? If you were going to build a model, what would be your interest? They say, you know what? I love airplanes. Okay, here's my advice to you. Start out with something that's like 1/72 scale or 1/48 scale. That's not going to blow your mind. You want to go with a company that is respected. Monogram, Hasegawa, Testors, Tamiya, Italy. A company that's been around a long time that has very clear instructions. They've been doing it for a long time, so you know the instructions are going to be fairly easy to follow. Number two, their engineering is going to be really good. So it's going to be less frustration for you as you're building the model. They're going to have clearer callouts for the colors. So if you're new to model building, it's going to be very clearly stated, hey, this is light gray, you know, Tamiya, whatever. And it's going to be easy to follow. They're going to list the paints on the box that you need to get to complete the model. And these kits are not super, super detailed, so it's not going to blow your mind sitting there on the kitchen table. Now, I say this all the time. These are kits you could build with Grandpa on Christmas morning. You know, you and Grandpa can sit at the kitchen table with Grandma and your mom screaming at you that, you know, you haven't done anything, and I don't care that it's Christmas, you know, you need to take the garbage out or whatever. But you and Gramps could sit and build one of these models in a couple days, or maybe over the course of a couple weekends, and you're going to come out with a nice model. And then what is it going to do? It's going to hook you into the hobby. You're going to have an enjoyable experience. If you go into this hobby buying the 1/8 scale Posher Alfa Romeo kit, you're going to get into step one, and you are going to immediately hit the liquor cabinet like you always do, and your sobriety is going to be out the window, and you're going to be back to drinking.
That's not good.
Where this, you'll be able to get through. You're going to be able to manage it, and you're going to enjoy it. And then as you get more experience, you're going to find you love the hobby, and you're going to love it. And that's what's the great thing about 1/72 scale and 1/48 scale from really good model companies that have been around a long, long time. Okay, that's enough for me. What I want to tell you is that if you're tuning into this just before the Kentucky Derby, which happens on Saturday, which is tomorrow, I love the Kentucky Derby. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I watched that series, Race for the Crown, on Netflix. What a great series. If you like horse racing, I know this has nothing to do with model building at the moment, but it's going to. That you got to watch that series. It's going to give you a really good insight into the Kentucky Derby, the Triple Crown, the Belmont, the Preakness. Great. I can't wait for it. So what do? My annual, I do this every year, Steve. Every year I do this, ladies and gentlemen. Right after the last place horse finishes the race, crosses the finish line, yours truly, the Pope of Plastic, opens up a brand new model kit. And what do? I hold what I call the F-Bomb Marathon. So this is the second annual F-Bomb Marathon. And what do I do during the F-Bomb Marathon? I open the model up like this. I get the instructions out and I start working, and I don't stop until the model is finished. No matter how long it takes, no breaks, no sleeping, no nothing, just straight model building to prove to people that I can build a model from start to finish without stopping. This will be the second annual. Last year I built the SSO Mandy, which is what we called it, but it was the North Atlantic Trawler by Revell, and it took me 12 hours. I built it from 7:30 in the evening till 7:30 in the morning without taking a break. People stayed with me all night long. We had a great time. We listened to music. As I get more delirious as the night goes on, the more I start with the F-bombs and get upset and lose things. And
like the Jerry Lewis telethon.
it is just like the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Wow.
So we may even have some singing and dancing and juggling and clowns.
Ed
and
McMahon going to show?
Ed McMahon will be there. So if you're interested to watch me torture myself for approximately 12 hours straight building a model, tune in tomorrow live on TikTok, starting right after the Kentucky Derby. Come in and say hi. Say, hey, Pope, how you doing? You can find me at the Pope of Plastic on TikTok for the F-Bomb Marathon. I gave the fans a selection of models to choose from. They always get to choose the model. And we've got a couple World War II bombers. We have a, what was the other? 2 World War II bombers. And a VW Samba bus. And in the lead right now for me to build is the Revell Germany 21 window Samba bus, Volkswagen Samba bus, which if I do that, I'm going to do it all weathered and rusty and old and everything else, so you can watch me do those things. Lastly, don't forget May 18th at the Franklin VFW Hall.
Elks.
The world of the Elks, the world famous Elks Lodge in Franklin, Massachusetts. Harry's big model show. I'll be there. Steve will be there. It is going to be incredible. We're going to have a great time. Plenty of model kits, all sorts of things. You're going to see Guy Fieri is going to make the world's largest omelet, which is going to be incredible. We're going to try to break the world record. So if you wanted to meet Guy Fieri, he's going to be there. And Julia Child's cousin is going to be there with him, which is going to be incredible. She's going to be showing the world's largest turnip. So if you like turnips, she's going to have that on display for one day only.
Andre the Giant.
It's Andre the Giant's shoe will be there. So you can get a picture inside Andre the Giant's shoe. You can actually climb in and get a picture in his shoe, which will be great. So you don't want to miss this model show. Tons of model kits. The actual judged competition where I'm a celebrity guest judge. Celebrity guest judge is me. And so with all my 82 viewers from the Posher unboxing from last week. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, please share this video with your friends. It does take Steve and I a little while to do these things, and a lot of thought and a lot of time. So we appreciate your views. We appreciate your comments. Please share this with friends and family. Please like and subscribe to yours truly, the Pope of Plastic. Most importantly, support your local hobby shops like Harry's. You must support these people because we don't want these model shops to go away that have unbelievably beautiful models like these. Check me out on TikTok tomorrow live for the F-Bomb Marathon, where most likely I'm building the VW Samba bus from start to finish nonstop, unless I die, have an aneurysm, which is a high probability that that could happen. Tune in tomorrow. We will see you next week. Who knows what we'll unbox, but we will be back next week. Steve, have a great week. Everybody out there, have a great week. Thank you, everybody.